In the lands of Middle-earth, legend tells of the Dark Lord Sauron and the ring that would give him the power to enslave the world. Lost for centuries, it has been sought by many, and has now found its way into the hands of the most unlikely person imaginable. Sauron needs only this ring to cover all the land's darkness.
What must I do?
The ring must be destroyed.
The ring must be cast back into the fires of Mount Doom.
There is evil there that does not sleep.
Sauron's forces are already moving. They will find the rings and kill the one who carries it.
No! Come on, Frodo! I cannot do this alone.
You have my sword.
And you have my bow.
And my axe.
This task was appointed to you, and if you do not find a way, no one will.
The enemy has many spies. Birds, beasts.
Something draws near. I can feel it. Get off the road!
Hide! Always remember, Frodo, the ring is trying to get back to its master. It wants to be found. Let us hope that our presence may go unnoticed. They are coming.
We must turn back!
Wish the ring had never come to me.
Back, you devils!
Wish none of this had happened.
You will find your courage.
If you want him, come and claim him.
One ring to rule them all. One ring to find them. One ring to bring them all. And in the darkness, find them. These words from J.R.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings have ignited imaginations for nearly half a century. The beloved trilogy created the modern epic adventure genre that has inspired many emulators, but none have matched the power of the original for its vivid imagery and storytelling.
The thing about these books and what we're doing with the movie is that they're so real. You believe that Frodo existed.
Now, in one of the most ambitious movie productions ever attempted, the legendary journey of Frodo Baggins and his fellowship is finally coming to life in New Line Cinema's Lord of the Rings.
Even the smallest person can change the course of the future.
I know what I must do. I'm afraid to do it.
One does not simply walk into Mordor.
There is no other way.
The story is so powerful, the characters are so powerful, so the films work incredibly well as a great action adventure for people that haven't read the books.
Legend tells of a ring created by an ancient evil that gave its wearer the power to enslave the world. Believed lost for centuries, it has now been found. Is it secret? Is it safe?
Lord of the Rings is a production that, for the first time in the history of cinema, has tackled making 3 films at once. And the logistics of doing that and the complications of doing that are exponential.
33, take 1, hitting camera A. Action!
The adventure begins when the first installment, The Fellowship of the Ring, is released this December.
And we're doing something very unique, which is to tell one story over the space of 3 films. And so they must have a continuity. They can't feel like different movies. They can't feel like you're suddenly watching a completely new adventure, because you're not. You're watching one huge epic story that spans nearly 7 hours of film.
This is the One Ring, forged by the Dark Lord Sauron. Sauron needs only this ring to cover all the lands of a second darkness. He is seeking it all. His thought is bent on it.
No one knows it's here, do they? Do they, Gandalf?
The filmmakers chose the unspoiled islands of New Zealand to film the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Tolkien was basically describing a European world. The Middle-earth was his vision of Europe 6,000 or 7,000 years ago, and so the landscape of New Zealand is a little bit European, but is also a little bit skewed in another direction. So I think it's suited to Lord of the Rings because it has a familiar yet slightly fantastical appearance.
So, after action, we're going to get you walking 3 or 4 paces before we yell fall.
New Zealand native Peter Jackson received widespread acclaim for his feature Heavenly Creatures, Oscar-nominated for Best Screenplay in 1994.
If you look at his filmography, he's got a wicked sense of humour and a taste for the bizarre and the absurd, and I think that is absolutely vital in a director who is tackling these stories.
The imagination to transfer a novel to film has to be intense, and Peter's got it and can transfer that.
He's a genius, you know. He really is. He's an amazing guy. I mean, he's cool as an elf. He's got the heart of a hobbit, and he's mad like a wizard.
He's the brain behind it. He's the man responsible. He has the One Ring.
Back in 1995, we found that the Lord of the Rings that they were selling at that time was a 3-volume set that had 50 watercolor illustrations by Alan Lee, and we basically came to love these paintings over the course of the 2 or 3 years that we were initially working on the scripts. And when the films started to become a reality, and we were thinking about our art department and thinking about the look of the films, the question of trying to find Alan Lee wherever he was in the world and seeing if he wanted to be involved became very important to us. So we eventually tracked him down to a small village near Dartmoor in England.
Well, it came out of the blue. I had a package from Peter and a letter saying, would you consider coming to work in New Zealand? And I was able to phone back and say, yes, I'll come out. It was estimated originally that I'd be out here between 12 and 20 weeks, but that was 2.5 years ago. We might need to take out some more and bulk it up underneath and stuff like that. As the film developed, Alan Lee's original style really became the Bible for what we wanted to do in terms of just visual style.
We also at the same time became very impressed with the paintings of John Howe. He's very good at capturing action right at an exciting moment and then freezing it and painting it.
The actual design of things is less important than the underlying feeling of believability.
New Zealand's premier effects house took the designs and gave them physical reality. Weta Digital generated the groundbreaking visual effects, while Weta Workshop created all the creatures, models, makeup, prosthetics, and weaponry.
The first thing we did in the armour making process was set up a foundry and employed 2 armour smiths to hand beat all of the original steel armour out of plate steel, so that the shapes and forms and details and fluting that we were able to get in the armour can only be done by the processes of the anvil, the hammer, the jenny, the furnace that was generated in times past.
The great thing about working with Richard is that he totally understands my desire to make this world feel real, so that even though you're making fantastical looking weapons and fantastical armour and creatures and miniatures of cities that never existed, they somehow have a believability to them.
Rolling.
At the heart of the Fellowship of the Ring is Elijah Wood as Frodo, the Hobbit hero who bears the Ring of Power.
Frodo enjoys the idea of adventures, and he's got quite a lot of knowledge for a Hobbit about the rest of the world. So that kind of sets him apart from everybody else. In being able to accept the responsibility of holding the ring and taking the ring to Mordor and destroying it, which is an incredibly difficult task for anyone. But hobbits, being as innocent as they are able to withstand the power of the ring much longer than any other species.
Good. Okay, we'll just do one more.
Sean Astin plays Frodo's loyal companion, Sam Gamgee.
The friendship between Frodo and Sam is a very, very powerful friendship, and it really is one of the things that drives the story of The Lord of the Rings.
Sam belongs with Frodo, and wherever Frodo goes, I want to go. And even if it means right into Mordor and into death.
Frodo and Sam are joined on the journey by fellow hobbits Merry and Pippin, played by Dominic Monaghan and Billy Boyd.
Merry and Pippin are really the wild cards in the movie, and they play that all the way through. And they have a comedy element to them, which is really the spice in the Fellowship.
You know, these two hobbits who are incredibly close, they're still trying to hold on to this world that they had, which was eating and drinking and partying.
For those who are watching the making of the film, this will never ever be a movie.
Action.
Sir Ian McKellen is the Grey Wizard Gandalf.
The Gandalf that you will see, and at least outwardly, is very much the image that people are familiar with, the man striding with the wind in his hair and his beard and his cloak.
He can come across as a very cliched wizard. I mean, he even wears the pointed wizard's hat. Although, having said that, I think Lord of the Rings is where the cliche actually originated from. So this is the source material, as it were.
Christopher Lee is the power-hungry wizard Sauron.
And Saruman is very definitely the most brilliant, the most powerful, with the greatest intellect and the greatest knowledge. And because he is in touch with Sauron, who of course is his master, he attains such power that it goes to his head.
Viggo Mortensen was cast as the heroic mortal Aragorn.
Alrighty, lighting up the torch then.
He's self-sufficient, can take care of himself in the woods, can sort of take care of groups of people, but he's untested and untried as a leader of people.
Sean Bean is Boromir.
I think Boromir brings a human quality to the Fellowship. He's a man, and he's coming with a very clear opinion about what he wants and how to use the ring to help his people.
The weapon of the enemy is a gift. Let us use it against him. You cannot wield it. None of us can.
The ring must be destroyed.
Roll.
Guns rolling.
Kate Blanchett plays Galadriel, the elf queen of Lorien.
Galadriel is someone who has an edge of danger about her because she is a ring bearer, and I suppose that she has the potential, if she was to take the One Ring, that she too could turn into the evil force that Sauron is.
Representing the elves in the Fellowship is Orlando Bloom as Legolas.
I've definitely gone along the lines of the warrior elf for Legolas. He's capable of picking up any weapon and using it, you know, with the greatest of ease.
Liv Tyler plays the brave elf princess Arwen.
She is torn between love of her people, of her father, but also of a mortal man, Aragorn. And because she's an elf, she is immortal. But if she really wants to be with the person that she loves the most, she has to give her immortality up.
The idea really that I give everything
share that love with him, which is so amazing. It's really beautiful.
Yep, turn around.
Rounding out the group is John Rhys Davies as Gimli the Dwarf.
I've never had to play a part where you look up all the time to do your acting, you know. Fantastic part, a wonderful character.
The thing that's interesting to me is that all the characters have to face their own private fears, and all of those little separate roads all lead to the overall fear of the ring, the power of the ring.
It was made in the fires of Mount Doom. Only there can it be unmade.
The ring in Tolkien's mind represents something that takes away your free will. It compels you to do what it wants you to do.
It is a tangible object that isn't living, but it is filled with this kind of evil magic.
There's something down there.
We sometimes need to exist in that world of imagination, the what if.
It's something that will be passed on from generation to generation.
It is magical.
Are you frightened?
Yes.
Not nearly frightened enough.
Legend tells of a ring created by an ancient evil that gave its wearer the power to enslave the world. Believed lost for centuries, it has now been found.
Is it secret? Is it safe?
This is the One Ring, forged by the Dark Lord Sauron. Sauron needs only this ring to cover all the lands of a second darkness. He is seeking it all. His thought is bent on it.
No one knows it's here, do they? Do they, Gandalf?
The weapon of the enemy is a gift. Let us use it against him. You cannot wield it. None of us can.
The ring must be destroyed.
It was made in the fires of Mount Doom. Only there can it be unmade.
I know what I must do, but I'm afraid to do it.
One does not simply walk into Mordor.
There is no other way.
There's something down there.
Are you frightened?
Yes.
Not nearly frightened enough.